What's going on, people? It's Mr. back again. I hope everyone's fit and well.
Steve
Yes,
Cooper's on.
some fantastic news has come out today, and if you don't know, where have you been? Steve Cooper, at last, finally, woo, assigned his new contract that will end 2025. McKinley's getting a bit happier. Dave is Dave's ready to speak. People in the comments, how excited are you to the main man, Steve Cooper, staying at Forest 2025? Before that, if you're new to the channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you know, and comment below, people, how are you feeling about the main man at last assigned the contract. Before I get comments in, I'll introduce to everyone. Everyone knows everyone is, but next to me, we've got the crazy Michaela with a flag. Where's your flag, Michaela?
Whoop, whoop.
Oh,
Wait a minute. Let me just have a drink.
I've got my drink as well. I've got mine's. Where's your drink? Where's your drink, Dave?
Hang on.
Shocking behaviour. I couldn't come on screen without a drink.
In honor of Steve Cooper, here's a smoothie.
But yeah,
Smoothie Cooper.
so yeah, next to me, Michaela. How are you, Michaela?
I'm pretty good. I was at work. My watch was going crazy, and I was like, "Who the hell is this?" And I look, and Matt's like messaged me like 300 times, and Byron's messaged me, "Cooper contract till 2025." I'm like, so I'm trying to hide. I went to the toilet. I was hiding in the toilet with my phone. I couldn't get a signal. I'm like, oh my, I'm so happy. It was the right thing to do. I'm delighted. I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm thrilled for us. I'm thrilled for him. It was the right thing to do.
Happy as Larry. Below me, we've got the man himself that can talk for years and years and years. He can carry on talking. We've got to get him in today. The man himself, Dave. How you doing, Dave?
Ben, let me just tell you and the whole world, I'm properly recuperated.
Oh, I like it.
I tell you what, folks, I'm a laugh a month, I am, aren't I?
Oh, this guy, crazy as hell.
I've honestly been working on that all day.
I can imagine.
Why can't I get a job?
Crazy as hell. People, show some love to Michaela and Dave in the comments if you can. Before we do talk about the subject today about the man Steve Cooper signing his contract, I'm good for the comments as well. Hello, good evening to people. How you doing, Dylan? Forrest and Cooper in, yes. Sean Stone, Cooper as well. Paul Newman said, really good news. I'm sure we'll be outputting the love of Steve Cooper on Sick Ground on Monday evening. As you know, Nottingham Forest play. Michaela's mad. I think she's been on the gin. I think she's gone crazy. Good evening, all. Hope great day to see Forest fans with Steve Cooper signing a new contract. If Monaco had got rid of him, I would have lost respect of him. The table didn't lie, but at the end of the day, he signed a contract. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Yeah. James, evening, everyone. Kieran, where's Des? Des meant to be on, but something last minute has come up. But Des would be back.
More important than Steve Cooper.
What?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We're having words with Des because that's not good enough.
So it's come up. He's back on the review show, people, so don't worry about that. It's all good. There's nothing to worry about. So it's all good. This is from Colin. Yes. This from another one. How you doing, Eve? Good evening, Dor, Michaela, and Dave. I hope you're all well. How you doing, Eve? Hope you're all good. Happy. You know, I'm happy. How you doing, James? Good to see you before the Leicester game with his missus as well. I've been on time before. Tip Forest finished bottom of the league. Half of them the top. Oh, what happened? How can you get gas from the? Andrew, what team do you support? What team do you support?
Do one, Andrew.
What are you doing, Andrew? Andrew, put in the comments. What team do you support? I love Ben, by the way, but Forest fans, get real. You had a meal this summer. Why do you have a meal this summer? Andrew, what team do you support, Andrew?
Going up was a mare, was it?
Albertus, Steve Cooper. Shout out to Albertus from Canada.
Canada.
My friend. As well, I'm looking for the good. Hey guys, keep it in with trust.
Steve.
Massive big. Make sure everyone subscribe to Rads as well, people. Right. Oh, whoa, another one. Hi, mate from Austria. How you doing, Jeff from Austria? Like I said, because these views will go up now. You're here with the new cupboard.
I love you, Kieran.
Oh, crazy. Right, people, let's start. Like I said, man, Steve Cooper has signed a new contract, and it's been long, absolutely long. But I'm happy as Larry. And it was funny. I was just saying to Kayla and Dave before we come in. This time last year, I met Steve Cooper. Crazy. I put a picture up on my social medias, and I thought, okay. So people in the comments, when did you know Steve Cooper signed a new contract? Was you at work? Was you at home? What was you doing? People in the comments, how did you feel about it? Right, Michaela. Tell everyone how you feeling. And where was you, Michaela, when you heard the news?
I was at work and my watch was going off crazy, like I said. And it was, I kind of like looked at my watch and I was like, what? And then I was trying to I was trying to be professional, obviously, because I'm a consummate professional. So then I went and hid in the toilet. And then I was trying to go on Twitter and I couldn't get any signal. And I was like, oh, God. So then I rang Matt really quickly. And my husband said, right, what's happened? He's like, oh, he signed a new contract. It's brilliant. So then I had to wait the whole day to kind of get on the bus and, look at everything. But just so delighted. I'm so thrilled. This is what we talked about it in the car last night. And I said, this is what they need to do. They need to back him or sack him, basically. And I think, I think they read the room. They've done the right thing. And I hope Steve now can relax, and that is a huge weight off his shoulders and off the players' shoulders, and everyone can just get on with the job. We all knew it wasn't going to be easy. And look, we all said on your show, we'd go down with this guy, wouldn't we? We don't care. He's got enough money in the bank that he really can do no wrong, apart from it was catastrophically bad. But I think, with all the new signings and all that malarkey, we've done the right thing. We've kept a great manager. He's brilliant. He gets it. He gets Nottingham Forest. So I'm delighted. I'm thrilled.
Dave, where was you when the announcement? Tell everyone.
I was doing the old day's shopping, Ben, and I was walking through Uttoxeter, and the bloke who runs the local fruit store, the local greengrocer, he's a Forest fan, Wayne, and he saw me go past the door, and I was actually talking to another bloke who was a Derby supporter, funnily enough, who I actually get on quite well with, and Wayne come belting out of the fruit shop. I went, "You'll never guess what's happened," at the top of his voice. And I went, what? And he goes, "Cooper signed his contract." And I won't repeat the expletive I said at the time. It was something like, go hence and multiply, something like that. And he went, no. At which point, myself and our local greengrocer indulged in a great big Nottingham Forest hug. And we were like, people were walking past, what was going on with them two, And we were looking at people who know nothing about football saying, "Steve Cooper signed his contract." We're all going, "Who? Steve Cooper?" Because we're all wrapped up in our own Forest world, and we kind of imagine that everybody else knows about it. But that's where I was. And once I got past a sense of shock, but happy, pleasant shock, I just thought, what a brilliant move, and actually a perverse move after the awfulness on the pitch on Monday night, where that was the worst we'd been for a long time. That's the worst we've been since the Houghton era.
Oh,
I thought it was
Dave, don't mention that game. If you do, Dave,
context where we are now, and what I love is that was a poor performance on Monday. Forest did exactly what nobody expected them to do, right? And they went, "Okay, it's really, really bad. We're going to love you more." And they gave him his contract. And I just think I'm so happy for Steve, because as Michaela rightly says and has said, because she's been positive and pro Steve for so long, like I have, he gets our football club. He did his research about our football club. He did his research about our city. He's built a wonderful rapport with us as supporters. And nobody coming in is going to know our club or our players or our supporters as well as Steve does. And I think it's a tremendous move. And I like the fact that, you know, it's bucked the trend of modern football. You know, I mean, I actually sent a message to Michaela's husband, Matt, the other day, where it was like, you know, the guy was not awful for a year. He was brilliant for a year. Does he become not brilliant over the course of 5 games? No, he does not. And there's too much short-termism in football, and it has to kind of go out the window. It won't, because that's the nature of the beast. But Forest have booked that trend. The other trend that Forest have booked is the one of Nottingham Forest managers a ten a penny and come and go in every 10 minutes, right? You know, we've been the butt of so many jokes we're the butt of jokes at the moment about the number of players we've signed. So that's a different issue. In the past, we've been the butt of jokes about the number of managers we've had and how ridiculously swiftly we've replaced them. And Forest have booked that trend. And I just like I say, I like the perversity of it. I'm really happy with it.
Before I begin, I'm just looking through comments and see where everyone. Like I said, people in the comments, if you just come, where was you when where Steve Cooper was announced a new contract for the club? I'm looking through. Gary Marriott says, I was in a meeting with the manager pretending to listen to what he was saying while reading the post. He said, I was at home enjoying
Good old Eve.
Good old Eve.
One of the greats. That was
A bird says, I was waking up from the day, kissing my wife, good morning, checking Twitter, and I was thrilled to see he was back until 2025. Yes. Next one is clear. Callum was spamming me with messages telling them we have signed.
It is a where were you moment, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Where were you, Ben?
I was up there at the minute before. Or do say mine. It was crazy. Brilliant news. I was in the van, reading the news, and I was bouncing after reading the news. Shout out to Steve from Wales. What? It was funny, right? Because I don't smoke. I went for a fag break, and
Gotta be careful what you say nowadays, Ben.
No. I went for a fag break. I was on the phone. I put my phone in my pocket. And I heard it was a business. I'm thinking, okay, that must be from Twitter. Looked at it, Steve Cooper, yes! And someone come out and, you're right, Ben. Steve Cooper signed a contract. I was like, what? Like, who's Steve Cooper? Forest manager. Yeah, that's where I was.
Can I also say, my old man, Razza, right, who's not been great, he rang me and he goes, Cooper signed, right? Then he went, can you get us another fruit loaf? Your mother's only got one in. So I had to kind of get another fruit loaf, you know what I mean?
Celebration
fruit loaf at the time, you know what I mean? So.
I'm still looking for the comments as well. My brother called me and said, Steve Cooper has been, I'm sweating, long pause, giving a new contract. Oh, bloody hell. But yeah, I think all the crazy things have been happening, as you know, the bottom of the league. Steve Cooper's been under so much pressure. And like I said, we are in the Premier League and it's going to be tough. But, okay, like I said, all the things that's been happening with the club, with Steve Cooper, like I said, he's honest. He's always honest in his interviews after the game. And I think he always says, and the most important thing, he thinks about the fans all the time. And that's what we love about Steve Cooper. And how do you feel about that? The pressure he was on, and now he signed a contract with Keller. How do you feel about everything?
I think the pressure was really beginning to show. I was on the radio and I said, I just feel like, to me, he looked a little bit lost. Like that last game, I could just, his eyes weren't there. Like he wasn't saying anything. He just looked like what do I do? This is a nightmare. And I think that whole game summed up a whole litany of like problems and issues with our team and people not being picked and having to play shiny new stars because you probably just got to play them because they're worth 25 million. And I think I'm hoping as a fan, as someone that doesn't, look, I'm a 45-year-old woman. What do I know? But I'm hoping that he can go back to basics. He can find his best team, and I'm emphasis on his. And I think this security of having a contract should I'm hoping be the foundation of something that he can build on. And like I read old Sir Kevin Campbell's comment, like
yeah, I can see Kev. I
yeah,
can see it.
it's true. It's common sense. This guy's, like Dave said, he hasn't suddenly become a rubbish manager. He just needs to be able to do the managing that he does. He's a man manager. Those guys would walk through a brick wall for him last season. Who's going to walk through a brick wall for Steve Cooper this season? I want to see those players. I want to see him be allowed to pick and be picking those players that know what it feels to wear a Nottingham Forest shirt. So I'm hoping that we see something a bit different on Monday, and I'm hoping that we pick players based on form and based on experience. And if someone's crap, even if they're worth 30 million, they don't get picked. Sorry, you get picked on performance. You get picked on, and that's the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but I think it'll be a huge relief for him. Look, it'll be a huge relief for anybody. But I'm relieved. I don't want to keep talking about it. I don't want to keep saying, "Oh, is he going to be fired tomorrow?" I want him
Exactly.
now. We can relax.
I think I said I'm talking to Dave, and I'm going to throw some mainstream minis under the bus. I'm sick or tired. I think it was last 3 days, and saying, "Oh, Steve Cooper is going to be sacked," and all that. And I get it. They've got to write something to get people talking and all that. Before I get there, let's say Michaela just said Kevin. My guy Kevin says, Mr. Dorm, Michaela, and Dave finally some sense provide. Stick with Cooper, allow him to shape and move the club. You learn fast. Believe me, no matter what happens, all the best. Shout out to my mate Kevin. Why are you not on my channel, man? Kevin, I think I'll sort of show out.
Big love for Mr. Campbell. What Kevin, a dude.
I need to get a Dickie Bow very quickly, I think.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Dickie Bow Tuesday.
I'll take Kev. Kevin, get on my channel.
I'm thinking of Frank Butcher, which I really wish I wasn't now.
Dave, you speak about, like I said, that Leicester circle rivals still celebrating about their bloody win.
Boring.
Like, if we know what the problem is out. I made it short and sweet. If we beat them, we just move on. We just move on like it's just a club up, just carrying on.
Well, the thing is, Ben, Michaela, and can I firstly say, I will not believe that Michaela's 45, far younger than that. Let me just get that in first. Look at her. With Leicester City, I mean, I was on their podcast the other night, and bless them, they fired missile after missile after missile at me, and not one of them hit me. Everyone
like this, Matrix.
No, I tell you what I did, though. What I did, I went, Chris, who runs it, he's a really good guy. Actually, let's put he's a good guy. He's a real good character. And I went on. He introduced me, and I said, "Right, let me say this now, so that every single Leicester City supporter in the universe can hear it. Well played to Leicester City. You deserved the win. We were comfortably second best. There you go." And they couldn't get at me, right? But what I would say is that I've looked at the table, like you two very intelligent people have done as well, surely.
You call me intelligent, Dave? Bloody
absolutely, Ben. Absolutely, Ben. Your choice of guests is always top draw. And and I looked at the table, and Nottingham Forest have 4 points, and Leicester City have 4 points. Now, Leicester City seem to believe that their crisis is over because of that, and that Forest's crisis has deepened. Now, Monday, they could go to Bournemouth tomorrow and get beat. We've got our incredible atmosphere that Aston Villa are coming into our house on Monday night. 100%. And what they've done this week, the club, the only mistake I thought they made was I thought they made a little bit too much publicity of the meetings that were going on. They didn't need to tell people they were happening. Keep them behind closed doors. That's within our family. Keep it, in the house. Don't need to be telling. Simon Jordan doesn't need to know. Danny Murphy doesn't need to know. Richard White doesn't need to know, etc. Somebody I think was a little bit indiscreet. Let's put it like that. I didn't like that. But what the club have done this week, and I'm really proud of the club, is that the club have acknowledged the brilliance in the last sort of 7 or 8 days of the Nottingham Forest fan base, right? And I tell you what, on Monday night, being in the King Power was, watching our team get beaten comfortably. And there were so many poor performances, to pick when you're saying that Serge Aurier was the only guy who kind of took your eye, that really said, and all he did, he played 45 minutes, shows how poor the lads were, and they need to do their bit for Steve. But what I thought was wonderful, that Forest and Magic broke out again in the second half and was unstoppable, like it was against Sheffield United in the semi-final second leg, when we got them over the line and into extra time 100%, and into a penalty shootout, right? And what I thought was that the Forest supporters were magnificent. Manchester United all went back to Guildford, Orpington, Surbiton, Kent, wherever they're from, at half time, right? The Leicester supporters were singing 4-0 down and you're still here. And we were like, yeah. And what I thought was wonderful was the love that was coming for Steve from the crowd. Now, at the end of the game, I had my heart in my mouth a little bit when Steve came over to us. The players came over and the lads were obviously, because they knew they'd been bought. They knew they'd let him down. They knew they'd let us down. There was a little bit of sorry about it. Yeah. And then Steve came over and I was a bit worried that, his reception might be a little bit frosty. It was nothing of the sort. And the love that came out of those 3,300, I think it was, in that corner of the King Power was really inspirational. And his applause, his head above, hands above head applause to us was longer than usual. And I thought the love between him and us was magnificent. And somebody in the club, whether it's Evangelos, whether it's Miltiadis, whether it's Nick Randall, whether it's Dane, somebody has said that 3,300 there have set the tone and set the mood in this football club.
100%.
Right? And I think what they've done, I'm not saying they would have had a rebellion on their hands or a mutiny or anything like that, but I think had they just sort of discarded him, we'd have been on us. Well, certainly me and Michaela, we'd have been on here tonight saying, why have they got rid of him? So they headed.
I'd be livid.
And I think what they've done, certainly with Monday night, they've given us I put on Twitter, I said, we're going to get a same manager bounce on Monday night. And I tell you what, when Steve, I wish I was Steve Cooper on Monday night, right? As a human being, I'm going to walk out that tunnel. I'm going to walk into a 30,000 filled stadium, and I'm going to get thousands of people showering me with love. And if that doesn't inspire a guy, I just think I'd love to be Steve. And given what he's like, and I've seen his press conference tonight, he's honest, he's down to earth. He said nobody has a divine right, which I think is a brilliant statement. Neither him, nor the team, nor us as supporters, nor the football club. We have to work hard. But given his honesty and his decency and his empathy, he deserves all the love he's going to get on Monday night. And I just think it's a lovely football story, actually. But we have to start winning now. So,
Dave, you know what? People in the comments, Dave for president, man, because I love Dave talking.
Wales with Michael Sheen. We have Dave.
We got Dave. You know what?
Bloody Dave.
Okay, I'm on Mr. Sheen.
You know what? People in the comments, we're going to applaud Dave for that.
Aaron Sheen.
But Dave is spot on. I was watching it from home. We were watching the Leicester game, and all you could hear was the Forest fans from start to finish. It was incredible. And we're sitting at home bitching and moaning because we're watching it. We're watching every single, we can see every little intricate detail of that game. But our fans made it clear. Our fans were like, we don't care. We care, but we love him. We are united. And I think the Twitter thing, if they're on Twitter, they've seen that. They've read the room. Because I would have been down the ground I would have chained myself to the bloody gates or something. That it was not. I would have been livid. I was livid when they fired Karanka because I love Karanka. But I would have been. God, I would have been so mortified if they'd done it. If they pulled the trigger. So no, you guys were immense at Leicester. You set the tone for the rest of the week.
Yeah, and I tell you what happened. What's happened actually is that the decision. Steve Cooper, right? Sorry, I'm going on again. You know what I'm right.
Keep going, Dave.
I'm not going to bed till 3 a.m. I've got what's Rings of Power and Bob and Paul going fishing.
What the hell is that, Dave?
Anyway, listen. what I was going to say is, I think we've got, really importantly for Monday night, I think we've got a united fan base, which is good. But what's interested me actually is how it's united people and football followers and football people outside of Nottingham Forest. I mean, I talked to the Derby supporter this morning, who's a good friend of mine, and he said, you need to keep Cooper. The lads on the Leicester podcast the other night, you need to keep Cooper. I mean, I spoke to a Newcastle guy who was on that podcast the other night, John Sinclair, lovely fella. He said,
shout out to John.
Yeah, John's a great guy. And then I've had, who else did I talk to? Oh, the lovely Alan Druitt from Fulham, what a smashing guy he is, and much love to his father, much love to Alan's father.
Yeah, much love to Alan as well.
Alan said, you need to keep Cooper. So across the footballing board, people, I tell you what, if I'm Steve Cooper, if I was with Steve Cooper right now, I'd say to him, you know what, mate? You're a special guy to unite a fan base like ours who's been divided for so long, and also to garner a consensus of opinion throughout football. Yes. You know, it's even Simon Jordan is pro Steve Cooper.
That idiot.
I can't believe, you know what? Simon Jordan, like
Simon's been fair.
No. Listen to me, right? I give Simon Jordan so much stick on Twitter.
Yeah.
But what he said today, 100% right, 1,000% right. Because like I said, if we did get rid of Cooper, we're going back to square one.
Oh,
absolutely.
We'd lose 10 years, just like that.
Yeah. Well,
I know Simon Jordan's.
He's not on my list. He's not on my list. Simon Jordan. It's Tony. what's his name? Tony
Casarino.
Yeah, he's on my list. Next list. Kevin, sort him out.
We can't even say his name properly. Who cares about him?
Casarino. That's it. I'll come back. He's on my list. Right, I was looking for comments. Casablanca. From Michael, how you doing, Michael? I'm pleased that someone in the club listening to the support of Steve got with supporters. Please have a podcast. And let me say for Michael, and shout out to my good friend Neil Cooper. If you don't know who Neil Cooper is, that's Steve Cooper's brother. Messaged him this morning, messaged me back about a minute later, and he said, he's like, it's the love that Steve's getting. It's just mad, absolutely mad.
He's earned it.
He's earned
it. That's the word. He's earned it. He's earned our respect. He's earned our loyalty, and he's earned everything. You know, that man has given us our club back, hasn't he? He's given us back everything. Yeah.
Brilliant, Michaela. And I tell you what, he's given us so much. But I tell you who he's given he's given something vital to not so much me, but for the younger supporters of this club.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
The youngest kids who support our club, as they've been growing up, and I'm, lads in like your poppets that go, little ones like our little favourite Erin, and then you've got your teenagers and the 20s. They've had nothing to kind of strut about and say about Nottingham Forest for so long. I'm lucky. I lived through, league title, league cups, European cups, and I was able to go to school and say Nottingham Forest did that and the other. The young people who are our next generation, they need inspiration. And Steve Cooper, after so many people, and they were called fly-by-nights, which is perhaps tough, but maybe there's some, ring of truth in it, have been into our club and done nothing of the sort. Yeah. Steve came in. I tell you what, the first interview Steve ever did, I sat there and I kind of thought, this guy has been watching us from afar for a while, and he's been researching, studying this club, and he came in and he made sure he got it because he put the work in before he got here. Yeah. And then since then, I remember back to previous managers, and there was no fist bumps. There was no meeting the Forza Garibaldi guys in the car park before the Derby match doing their banners. There was no, he's accessible. He's relatable. I know so many friends you've either met him or have had pictures with him. He gives of his time. He's generous, unselfish, and he's exactly the kind of person that we need as our focus to show the world that we are a good football club with good morality, good ethics. And while results are tough at the moment, I'm telling you now, life's not crap every day. The sun rises. And Monday night, it might be us celebrating. And if it's not, then we'll go to the Wolves and we'll try there. And if we don't go, if it doesn't happen at Molineux, we'll go to the Amex.
Look what he did. Yeah.
You know,
look what he did last season. We couldn't have been worse, could we? I think we were probably at our lowest ebb for a long, long time. I remember saying to Ben, like, I feel like just throwing my season ticket away. Like I was done. My 22-year-old, I was having to drag to Forest. Like it was that bad. And that guy, well, Stephen Reid started it at Huddersfield. Huge shout out to Stephen Reid. But that guy grabbed us by the neck, by the and he dragged our club up. He dragged us up. He instilled something that no one else has been able to do for a very, very long time. And he did something incredible. And we have to keep remembering that. And look, you can't live off it forever, but he did something impossible. None of us thought we'd get promoted, did we?
Michaela,
a year ago.
What I said, he signed a contract today. Whatever happens with Steve Cooper this season, next season, or whenever, when his time is up at Nottingham Forest, he's going to be a legend.
He's a god.
With whatever he does.
I mean, I think when the ground gets redeveloped, there's going to be like a museum or maybe some Hall of Fame or something. He's in it already.
Of course he is.
He's in it already. He's in there with
I think we talk about the European Cups and that one that's part of his history. And now because of this time, because we've got social media and everything on YouTube and all that, he needs massive respect. But like I said, it's took 23 years, and this guy, like I say, he took his from the darkest time at the Forest. It was the worst. It was horrible. And for the news today, and like I said, year today, and there's 112 people. Year today, I met Steve Cooper, and I never give people the story. And it was a night. I think Michaela was it the Stan Collymore night we went to as well.
It was a Stan Collymore night. Yeah, because our pictures came up. They were horrible, by the way. Ben.
it was funny, right? And this is the story. I met him. I was invited to. Steve Cooper organised it, and I was going through to the car park, and
it didn't put Steve Cooper off, did it? As well, meeting you.
No,
anyway,
and I turned round. Who was it? I forgot his name now. I forgot the guy's name now. He came up to me and said, "You right, Ben?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "How are you doing?" I was like, "I'd say I'm sorry for my language. Under 16s, cover your ears. What the fuck? How the fuck does he know my name?" It was crazy, and that's why I got so much respect for Steve. And
Ben, that little vignette there sums him up. He meets everybody at every level. You know, it's the Kipling poem. If you can walk amongst kings but still have the common touch, and Steve's got it right. I mean, he did it. He's done it with you, Ben. He's done it with Michaela. He did it with Max. Met him a couple of times, and Max said he just made him feel special. He's done it with the Portuguese guys. And I tell you what, the point that you make about Stephen Reid should not be forgotten, because I think that last year set a tone. When Steve came in, you know, we'd lost the previous guy gone, obviously. And then we had to go to Huddersfield, and we were at rock bottom. You know, 1 point from 21, utterly rock bottom, bereft. And you see us winning at Huddersfield? No, we went to Huddersfield, and you have to.
Where's that game, Michaela?
Stephen Reid.
I went with Ben.
Yeah, yes. Stephen Reid and Warren Joyce set us up and basically said to the lads, "Why don't we try and play like this?" And Forest looked like they were having fun. They enjoyed it. They won 2-0. Now, Steve comes in the following Tuesday or Wednesday between Huddersfield and Millwall on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And what most people would do or have done in football is say to You know, in Steve Cooper's position, they would probably say to Reedy and Warren, "Thanks very much, lads. That was great, but we'll take it from here." He didn't do that. It was a brilliant piece of interpersonal connection. He said to Reedy, "I love what you did at Huddersfield. Be part of us, right?" He said to Joycey, "Love what you're doing." And what we got out of it, we got Reedy has become a bit of a hero. And there's a lot of people sad he's gone, me included. And he was obviously a bit of a cult hero for what he did on the bus after we were at Wembley. And then Joycey goes back to the 18s and takes them all the way to the final in front of 69,000. The young boys playing in front of 69,000. Now, some of them are to come through. So from that little, it's like the Brian Clough thing. I popped a little bit of manure on it and up popped a flower. And Steve Cooper, from that moment, had me. I just thought it's a brilliant piece of man management, social skills.
Classy. He's classy. He's classy from his toes to the top of his head. He's absolute class.
100%.
Yeah, the other thing, Michaela, you said, and you make brilliant points to it, honestly. This time last year, I totally agree with you. We kind of had a bit earlier, we had no hope. We were going nowhere.
Yeah.
Nobody could envisage it.
No.
Isn't it exactly the same now?
Yeah.
In a different league? And
it's exactly the same. It's the same story, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's 112 people. If you enjoy Dave's little long chat, give me a like button, please. Hit the like button.
I want them to.
Dave's awesome.
He's awesome, people.
Michaela.
Like I said, people as well. Please do hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. I'm just going through the comment, and there's a nice Leicester fan. I like this guy, Hayden. Hayden, I'm a Leicester fan. Steve Cooper's a legend. Where he got Forest promotion, coming from rock bottom to win the playoff and promoted to Premier League, which in my opinion is incredible. And like I said, Hayden, it is. It's so incredible. Like
it is a miracle.
And I said, and Kev, you're watching this. I said it so many times on all my podcasters. I was so low.
You
Me
were
and Kev was
depressed.
talking. I was depressed, and I'm always a positive guy, and it was just evil.
Stoke away.
Middlesbrough at home. Cardiff at home. Cardiff at home, and Flint was laughing at the Trent end. And Houghton allowed it to happen. Lovely guy that Chris is. He should have done something about it. He should have gone in there and said, "You're going to let him do that to us?" And then Middlesbrough, I mean, and I'm going to be really cruel now, but if Ethan Horvath, and I'm repeating myself, people will have heard me say this, but if Ethan Horvath never does anything for this club again, him dropping the back pass from Loic Mbissoe for Ronald Hernandez to score and finishing that segment of our history. Thank you very much, Ethan. You know what I mean?
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Oh my god! There's 39 minutes gone. I hope, like I said, if you're new to the channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Let's talk about something, and as well, as if you don't know, Steve Cooper signed a contract to 2025. More good news, and this got the banner out. This is more great news, and we can't forget this guy as well, because there's gossip that he's going to leave as well. I'm talking about Dane Murphy. And people need to forget he was CEO of the year.
Exactly.
Last season. And people said it was his fault, is that fault? But this guy he was the guy that brought Cooper in. And I mean, I'm not sure, Michaela, like I said, the guy, I think I saw on social media, like, people blaming him. But he's part of this club that got his promoted once, Michaela.
100%. Like, and he probably brought in a lot of those loan guys that did so well for us that we all love and cherish. And so, no, he's part of it too. You can't throw someone under the bus. That's the old Forest. Like, all right, let's find the fool guy. Usually it was the manager. Let's throw him under the bus and carry on. And, some of the signings have been a bit weird, but I don't know if that's Dane's signings. I don't know if it's the Sun's signings. None of us know. Like, people, you meet people in Tesco's and like, oh, I heard this and she told me that, and I know her brother and my grand told my cat and all this stuff. None of us know, do we? None of us know. Dave might know, but none of us know. Like, we just don't know. So
No.
Dane's done some brilliant things, and the club's moving in the right direction, and it was moving in the right direction. So let's not forget about that. So I'm happy he's here. You know, I wish we hadn't signed so many players. That's my opinion, but that's just life, and we've got to carry on with it. And look, our owners have really thrown a lot of money at it, so most people would be delighted with it. So we've just got to deal with what we got and carry on. But no, I'm happy he's here. I'm happy he's here. He owes. Look, at the end of last season, we're all singing his praises. Let's build a statue for the bloke. So people are so fickle and so quick to forget.
Or don't say fickle, Michaela, because Gary got in trouble for saying fickle. Don't say fickle. People.
Gary Marriott made me say it.
Yeah, Gary. Before I get Dave's opinion, I'll give a shout out to Alex Shooter of South Glade School, Year 10. He's a massive fan. So shout out to Alex Shooter
All right,
for
Alex.
watching my channel. Alex, if you can, give me the thumbs up if you can. So thank you for watching, Alex. Shout out to Mallow for that as well. Dave, like I said, Dave Murphy, like I said, he was the guy that brought Cooper in. What's your opinion on what's been happening with him?
Well, I endorse, Michaela's views on Dane. I mean, my sort of first connection to Dane, if you like, was, and I go back to the Cardiff game last year at home when we were a goal up and lost 2-1, and it was pretty dire. But I remember sitting in the Cafe Pizza just around the corner from the stadium with me chicken and chips and me brew, reading the programme notes. And in that programme that day, Dane wrote a 3-page article where he essentially set out his strategy for Nottingham Forest moving forward. I think it was like kind of 3 bullet points. One was to have a leaner squad. One was to have a younger squad, sort of 26 as a ceiling, and then to make use of our, and let's be honest, Category 1 academy. And I looked at that, and I kind of, that day I had very little hope that we'd beat Cardiff, because Cardiff were always about, they were like 9 foot tall, and we were always about 4 foot tall against Cardiff. But I kind of read that article, and it sustained me that day when we lost, and it sustained me through the Middlesbrough loss that followed. And I really liked what Dane set out, and I think by and large that blueprint, if you like, that way forward has been followed. I mean, it was followed to the point where we got promotion, which at that particular time, as Michaela has said, and as everybody has said, nobody could see coming. And actually, I think with Dane, he was chief executive officers, I believe. I'm not inside the club. I never will be.
Yeah, we've had a director of who's the Watford guy from Watford?
Filippo Troni or something, is it?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, we've brought out. I didn't understand.
So have we got 2 now, or have we just got 1?
Just one.
I don't know. I think with Dane, Dane actually, for a lot of people within, who love Nottingham Forest like we all do, I think Dane was the first indicator, if you like, of change and some stability and some rational thinking. When Dane came in, we'd all seen what he did at Barnsley with to get Barnsley into the playoffs was an astonishing achievement. And okay, the manager at the time deserved a lot of credit, but Dane put him in charge, and Dane had a lot to do with the recruitment at Barnsley. And based on what I'd seen of Barnsley the previous season when they got to the playoffs and we'd struggled, I kind of thought that's a really clever appointment. I'm sure Nick Randall had a say in it. The Marinakis family had a say in it. So I think with Dane kind of got the love before Steve came in, and then got the love as well. So, if you like, I was on one of these shows with Ben a while back, and we were talking about turning points and all that. Or somebody asked me what was the moment of last season. It was Max, actually, and I said the moment of last season was the appointment of Dane Murphy, because the appointment of Dane Murphy begat the appointment of Stephen Cooper.
Yeah.
So while we're remembering what Steve's done, and Steve doesn't become a poor professional in his profession overnight. Neither does Dane Murphy. And so I think that I just think that, and I'm not being a conspiracy theorist or anything, and I might be talking out of my chute, as it were.
As usual.
But I think, I'll give you that. But I don't think the problem recently has been, and I might be speculating and going beyond my remit, but I don't think that Steve's never been the problem. Steve's just been Steve, working hard, doing the stuff Steve does. He tells us that every week. No reason to. How can you doubt a guy like that? He's as honest as the day is long. I don't think Danes would do. I think there has been an element in the club. Now, that element to me was the impediment to Steve signing his contract. Now, I just wonder if that impediment has been dealt with over the course of this last week, because he's obviously then quickly signed that contract. It's almost like saying, Steve, we'll let you get on with the job that you're doing. We'll take away this impediment for you. At which point, Steve will probably have talked to his missus and his family and his closest friends before making that decision, and he'll say, right, I'm ready to commit now. So I think
it's
but
very
I don't.
intuitive of you. I agree.
Yeah, and I think Dane and Steve, Dane did a lot to help us to get where we are now. All that's happened with this club is, Colin Frey's brilliant summation of, 5 years of progress in 10 months. Unfortunately, it's happened so quick that, unlike Fulham and Bournemouth, who pretty much knew they were going up and who could build a little bit of a team to be ready to go up, we couldn't ever say, right, we're going to build a team for the Premier League, because then we'd have fallen on our backsides.
100%.
So where we are now is, in terms of being in the Premier League and the problems we're having, and I say no divine right, that's kind of unavoidable. And then the turnover of players, that's kind of unavoidable as well, which the media, because it doesn't sell papers and it's not sensationalism, they've wanted to avoid that truth and that reality. So I just think where we are at the moment is incredibly difficult. But who's to say it's going to, it's not going to, it might stay difficult. I mean, if anybody wants, and I'm going to sing the guy's praises on it, if anybody wants to hear brilliant views about where Nottingham Forest are right this minute, watch Darren Fletcher on the Garibaldi Raid podcast. Absolutely superb.
Just Darren Fletcher. Just
absolutely hit
right
every nail. What you say?
He's a rival podcast, Dave. To say Darren Fletcher.
He talks a lot of sense, and I think he's a good guy, and what he said is right on. You know what I mean? We're all Nottingham Forest, aren't we, Ben?
We're all Nottingham Forest.
We're all family, Ben. Don't be bitter, Ben.
I'm not bitter.
No, but I think.
Shout out to my guy, Mr. Davis, who owns the podcast.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
But I think Dave's right though. I think, look, we're speculating, but I'm thinking that Steve just needs to get on with the job now.
Yeah.
And we need to we not need to see square pegs in round holes. We've got enough bloody players to fill out the round holes. So I'd like to see. I think Steve Cooper is a man manager. I think he manages his team. He manages those players. And I think he doesn't know those players yet. He doesn't know who's there for him, who he can trust. And I think, at the moment, look, none of us know the best team, do we? When people put their teams out, you're like, who the hell's that? You're like, I didn't recognize half the team. When we played Leicester, I was like, who's that? Like, you have to kind of you've got to remind, we've got Dennis in our team. But, that's I think for him, I think that I'm hoping that they've just said, right, it's yours. We trust you. You did it last year. Get on with the job. And that's, I think, there's been a bit of a weird hocus pocus meddling. There's got to be something wasn't right, was it?
Absolutely.
The ingredients were they're there, but they weren't being put in the right. We were making a stew without the meat, kind of thing. So I think at the moment, I'd like to see, there's some players that I think should be playing before some of these, big shiny new stars. I'd like to see them back in the team. So let's see what he does.
100%. I've got 10 minutes before we do go. And like I said, Steve Cooper signed a new contract and everyone's just so happy. It came out of the blue. I didn't see it come in, but I think it's well deserved after what it's done. But yeah, there's a lot of people get some merch from Michaela as well. If you want any merch from Michaela, see, I'm promoting now. I'm promoting. Michaela, Matt does all this stuff. So if anyone wants any, I just can't get enough mug. Message. What's the Twitter handle, Kayla?
Rose Gallery.
Rose Gallery people. So if you
It's
can,
all over Twitter. He did a big campaign for Cooper with his sticker. So
if
yeah.
you can, people.
It actually broke his Twitter. They kept saying like something's weird with this Twitter because people kept changing the Forest fans were brilliant and they all got behind it and they kept changing their profile picture and he kept getting these messages like what are you doing? Are you a robot? Are you? So he literally they kept stopping it. So it kept going to 1,000 and it would stop. So but the Forest fans have been magnificent. I think we've really
what they need to do now is they need to translate. I mean, I don't think away from home there's a problem. I just think the last couple of times in the City ground has been a little bit muted. Now, Monday night, they're all promising that they're going to give Aston Villa the roughest ride that they can possibly give them. And we might come out of our wonderful ground on Monday night with 3 points for us, and the guy in the other dugout who actually I really like, and I think he's a good guy, but it might be him that's getting all the pressure because Stevie G, he's got issues as well. And I do think Villa are beatable. Anybody who watched Villa
100%
failed to beat a 10-man Leeds last week will think if Forest get their ducks in a row, they can beat Villa. They really 100%. Can. Now, Villa are coming with some very good players. McGinn, Watkins, Coutinho. They've got quality players, right? And the issue with us at the moment is when I looked at Monday night, and I'm sure you and Matt will have done the same, Michaela. You will have looked at the people on the park, and I still feel that 8 games in or whatever it is, not enough of our players, if any, have yet made an impression on the Premier League such that the neutrals are talking about them. Dean may be in goal, but Dean's had far too many shots to save. We're far too open. And the onus now is on the players to start saying, right, Gaffer, we'll give you what you want. They did not do that on Monday night. It was deeply poor, deeply disappointing.
It looked like they weren't playing for him to me. And I'm not, you know me, Dave, and Ben knows I'm positivity all the way. And I really love all our players. And I think, no one doesn't try, but there was a few players on that pitch that didn't look up for it at all. They just didn't, they just looked.
I think they allowed. I think they allowed their demoralisation to kind of get the better of them. Now they've got to deal with that. They've got to be stronger. I mean, I went and played football myself tonight for an hour, right? You would probably have heard the creaking from Nottingham, right? But there was a guy who I was playing with tonight, and he was going, Taiwo Awoniyi scores, Dave. It might have been a very different evening when he hit the post. So I mean, that move. I think it was Jesse, Morgan, and then Taiwo. It was brilliant. It was simplicity.
It was a lovely, It was lovely.
Cut Leicester to pieces. Taiwo sticks that in, and it could have been a different game. But where Forest,
confidence is everything.
Absolutely. And I don't think it's that they're not playing for Steve, because I think the stuff that you see around there's no rumblings of discontent.
No.
I do think though some of these players that we've signed will kind of join, that sort of list of people who've been into this club and then become a bit of a standing joke, unfortunately. But, Steve is now got a clear way in front of him to say, right, you're for me and you're not for me. And he can really, Marinakis, the Marinakis family have backed him. Right, Steve. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, historically speaking, Nottingham Forest have been better or have been a good, successful side when the interference from non-football people into the activities of football people has been at its minimum. The greatest of them all would never have allowed it.
No.
Right? Frank Clark had nobody telling him how to do the job. On with it. Paul Hart was allowed to do it. Billy in his own way. And Steve, I mean, all that, it seemed to me that what happened, we got promotion And this owner and our ownership, which had been in the background, had been a sort of a shadowy presence over yonder. As soon as we could go up here. And I just feel like a little bit, and I might be being disrespectful, but do you remember when John Terry was raising the cup and he'd never played in the game?
Yes.
A little bit of like grabbing the glory. And I think that, Leicester City's owners, when they won the league title, they showed the way to do it. They were respectful. They said, we didn't do the football stuff. We let Ranieri get on with it. And then when Leicester won the FA Cup, they let Brennan get on with it. What we don't want is somebody like, Steve should be front and centre. He got us up. He's the main man. You don't want somebody leaning across and getting in front of him and saying, "Oh, well, I had something to do with it as well."
Yeah.
No,
no one wants that. No, and look, we've got to give them their dues and respect. And we respect them. They've given us all that money. They gave us Steve Cooper, but they don't know anything about football, do they? So
not as much as Steve.
With all due respect. So yes, let him get on with his job.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. Pick the players that want to play. Pick them on merit. If you have
100%.
a Brazilian player who's meant to be phenomenal and he's playing like crap, don't play him. Sorry,
100%.
he's probably brilliant, but he's meant to be good at attacking. He didn't, so maybe he has to have a rest. Maybe you say to him,
100%.
"Look, you just didn't play well. We're gonna play Toffolo, whatever it is."
Yeah. Michaela, are you on about Lodi there?
Yes.
No. Dave. Make it short, sweet Dave.
Look, he's meant to be brilliant. Byron said to me, Dave, he's going to be brilliant. He's not a defender, but attacking wise, he's superb. So I watched Monday and I'm like, okay, so he's not a good defender. We can see that. Where's his attack? Where is he? He wasn't. Poor old Brennan. It's like poor Brennan's having to, pick up scraps like a peasant in the street. It was ridiculous. So
I wasn't going to actually name individuals.
Make it short, Dave. The hours are almost up.
Yeah. Basically, some of them, they need to step up and they need to stop being reputational and they start to be in the here and now. And they have to start by beating Aston Villa.
Let's do it.
100%.
Yeah.
Right, people, I think it's time to go. Thank you very much for the man himself, Dave and Michaela, for coming on the show.
Where's my Steve? Wait.
Yeah, and people if you want him, if you want him,
she's Forest. She's on the front of the Radio Times this week.
Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to Johnny Owen and Vicky.
She's Nottingham. Yeah, love Vicky.
Yeah, people like to. We're back on Monday. Sky Sports yet again.
2-0.
Oh, you're doing it early? You're doing it early, Michaela. You're doing it early.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to get it in there.
Get it in there. That's okay. What's your prediction, Dave? What's your early prediction? People comment. People in the comments as well.
The lady knows. She speaks truth. I trust her. I have so much respect for her. Who am I to disagree with the lovely Michaela Wilkinson? Let's go with Michaela.
So very first two. I'm not giving my prediction.
Do a come on, a little one. Are we gonna win?
Let's be realistic.
Oh,
No. I'm not being negative. I'm just saying the league table doesn't lie. I'm just saying
oh my god.
No, listen. Listen, Aston Villa have not been great.
I'm going on that other podcast next time.
You go on there. You let people in the comments get Michaela.
No.
I'll say we'll win, but I might change my mind. Yeah. I don't know. But people as well. Or Kevin, the man himself, Casey says, "Get me on soon, Mr. Door." Kev, I'll message you next Monday. No, Kevin.
Kevin, are we going to win, Kevin? Mr.
Campbell.
Kevin Campbell, will we win?
He's definitely coming on for the Arsenal one. He's definitely coming on with Arsenal. Shout out to Curtis Shaw as well. That'd be a good one. People couldn't go. I've got a show on. When we play Sunday. Aston Villa fan Richie, Aston Villa fan will be on. He's doing the preview show with me on Sunday, and that starts at 9:00. I think. I keep forgetting what time. We're playing. What day we're playing. So I keep
playing 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. I'm coming straight from work, so
Right, so
All Saints people.
so
Get your
Sunday
t-shirts
people.
here.
Yeah,
Are you
good
bringing
to-
Jesse Lingard's girlfriend with you?
Oh, hey, shh. Right, people, I'm gonna get going. Thank you for everyone. If you can do a massive favor for me, if you do hit the like button, I'm on 54 likes. Before you leave, just do a massive favor. Hit the like button, subscribe if you know. Make sure you do contact Michaela to get her merch as well. Like I said, people, like I said, Aston Villa Monday night. Can't wait to go. If you want to get on the vlog, please do. See the nutcase Michaela. And as well, and last but not least, thank you very much, Steve, for signing that contract. Like I said, it's been coming, and we're
We
all
love
happy.
you, Steve.
And
We
like
love
I said,
you, Cooper.
we know you watch it, Steve, but like I said, thank you, Steve. It's been a year of madness. Happy times revived, and hopefully more happiness will come to Forest fans, because I know Monday game is going to be absolutely crazy. All the fans are going to be behind them.
Turn up, people. Loud and proud. Even if we're 7-0 down, bloody shout and scream. We're gonna beat them. Villa haven't heard this atmosphere in the Premier League. We bring it. We bring it at home. Other teams don't bring it. We bring it. Apart from Newcastle, they kind of brought it, but we bring it at home. And those Villa fans are not going to know what's hit them. We want to hit them with a wave of sound.
We do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Forest fans are Michaela trying to do a Dave. Talk. Right. People, we get going. Thank you everyone for taking part. If you do hit the like button, subscribe if you know, and I'll see you on Sunday, 9 o'clock. Peace and love, people, and up the Forest, and up the people.